Welcome to the number one YouTube show about window cleaners, Monday Night Live Chat. We're either on Monday or Tuesday, every other week or every 3 weeks, but we'll always be here. So
sometimes you got to carry the one.
Yeah. So it is, what's the date today? November 1st, day after Halloween. How is business going out there? I would like you all to answer the question of what the topic is tonight of who would win in a fist fight, Chris or Alex Lambrinides, but against each other. So that kind of messes up the way I said it.
You're the best introer ever.
Hey, you win.
By the way, TJ is here. So this is the number one podcast on YouTube for window cleaning that happens to be on a Tuesday.
Yep.
And sometimes Monday.
Yep. Mondays or Tuesdays. Yes. And then in 2 weeks, we will miss Monday again. We'll be back in 3 weeks. I don't know, guys. It's just
carry the one.
You know what, though? We're on episode 19 and we started this in January. So we've been pretty good about it.
It's so bad.
Well, we would have had about 26 or 27 episodes at most. So, we've lost some ground there, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right.
Well, I want to say what's up to Squeegee Puller, Austin Grubbs, who's covering Tactical Girl Dad. There we go. Squeegee Puller, by the way, that's what I thought as well. Tuesday Night Live, we're just here just to mess things up. But what's up to Manuel, Jordan, Johnny, of course, T Squeegee, Antonio's here. By the way, T Squeegee is getting the new Modern Warfare 2, and we are going to rock it out on PS5. I tried to get SteveO to buy a PS5, and he said video games are stupid.
No,
he really likes watching reruns of Luke the Window Cleaner videos on YouTube.
Yep, that's what I do. That's my number one thing. Austin says I look like I'm 10 years old. Yes, I've shaved. Got my hair cut a little too short. It was, you
do look like 10 years younger, and you didn't even do anything like really that drastically different.
No, yeah, it's just how it's like that. Oh man, I cut my finger yesterday. Oh, you see that?
Yeah.
Pretty
severe.
It's so severe. It's so bad.
No, what it is it's on the fold. The worst place you could possibly have.
I did the stupidest thing I've ever done, where a window wouldn't shut, a slider, and I put my hand outside and gripped the window and thought that it was going to take a good amount of force, and did it, and just slammed my finger in the window, and nothing sharp, but it busted my finger, and it's hard. Hard life. It's brutal. Yep.
By the way, TJ said that he's number 2 because they're the shit. So that only makes sense.
Yep. Nice.
I'm sad that not enough people have said who's going to win in the fight between Alex and Chris.
I don't even know who I'd pick.
I see one person say Alex.
You haven't seen one person say Alex?
No, I saw only one person said Alex so far. I haven't seen anybody say Chris. I haven't seen anybody say who's winning this fight.
Well, it all goes down on pay-per-view January 1st. It's only $199.99. Just like Jake Paul fights, it will be a winner. There you go.
That is pretty close to what pay-per-view is now.
Do you ever pay for pay-per-view fights?
I do.
Here's what I want to know. If anyone in this show tonight, in this chat box, pays for the Jake Paul boxing fights, because that stuff is robbery. I've never paid for one. I never will.
No, I have not. I don't care enough about him. Just because he's loud and obnoxious. I'll pay for a McGregor fight. He's loud and obnoxious, but Jake Paul, I could care less. It's boxing. It's still just not interesting to me. I'll watch highlights, because a whole match of boxing, you'll have 6 highlights, maybe.
Well, the sad thing is Jake Paul is actually getting kind of good, and he kind of understands the point system. Yeah. So he's just beating all of these guys, all these old people on points, and he understands it. And now it's getting to the point where it's disgusting to watch. And it's ridiculous.
The problem with Mayweather, sorry, that's what I was going to say in the boxing, is Mayweather will get enough points so that he can dance around the rest of the time. That's why the beginning of a Mayweather fight's fun, and then it's nothing. It's not like Tyson, where Tyson never cared about points as much. He just cared about like, make this guy go to sleep. So all of his fights were good.
Well, that's because the main goal now is just to make tons and tons of money. So all they want to do is win, win, win.
Yeah.
It's sad. Real quickly, I just wanted to Vicious Triplets asked who has the bronze wool pads these days and why are they priced like gold? We have not had bronze wool really, I would say maybe since January or February. And we don't carry them anymore because the manufacturer stopped making the pads because the actual machine broke and they deemed it not needed or like basically not profitable enough, I would think, to make them. So they don't make them anymore. And I think that's the same with the steel wool pads that we used to get too. We haven't had those either. There are some distributors who are selling bronze wool, but it is 3/0. From everything that I felt, it's all 3/0, which I would not use for glass. I have had some people use it for glass and not had issues, but I would not advise
I've seen it scratch, like micro scratches on my office door. So I would never use the bronze wool anybody's got right now.
Oh, you tried it at your office?
Yep.
Yeah.
And micro scratches. I wouldn't like 4/0 steel wool and ultrafine in bronze just won't scratch, and I'd rather not even take the chance.
Yeah, exactly. Chris Simmons asked the question of the day. If you were in pro window cleaning, you may have seen a post from Mr. Chris Lambrinides about the 4-foot stack section coming back, which has been a unicorn for, which is a bigger unicorn than really bronze wool. And I don't know when that's exactly going to be in, but I believe they are on order to come in. So I'm sure Josh and I will post about it once it comes in. Y'all will know, and so will WCR.
Yeah. Those are going to sell better than the regular stacks.
Exactly.
Everybody's wanted them for so freaking long.
They're so helpful though. Like if you have not used one and you have a stack ladder, it's so helpful. The first set I ever had, I had 5 sections and I had a half section, and that half section made all the difference in being able to just like get to windows well. I've never really liked like stacking everything like that is compared to an extension ladder, but it definitely has its places.
Here's something interesting. If you guys are watching and you want yourself a half stack, just text either SteveO or I and say, I want a half stack. And then as soon as they come in, we'll search our text and we'll get you one. Yes. It'll be all like the silencers all over again, where it'll be also.
You'll be putting on your hip, you know, just
People actually, I know a couple guys that probably carry one on their stupid Batman belt because they got everything else. I knew a guy who used to carry an extension pole on his belt, and it would just dangle and like hit the ground behind him like it was like walk back to your truck. Like
that's too much. I'm starting to limit everything down a bit. Starting to like take some stuff off and just Do you imagine I used to use 2 bucket on a belts each side, and I would have 2 sleeves full with water. It was so overkill. I thought it was cool.
But then again, those are the Batman belts. Like some people just really like to have everything with them.
Yeah.
Until you have like hip issues because you're like 30 and you're like, I can't do this anymore.
I went into a therapy place once that we were cleaning, and the lady right away asked me, she goes, does your hips hurt? And I was like, yes, they do. She goes, it's all that shit on your belt that you have on your hips that is going to just impact you. And I was like, I never thought about that. I just never, ever thought about that. But yeah, why not?
By the way, Austin, the fanciest of all of the WCR reps, just said, I switched to a round Yeti bucket. 10 out of 10. I definitely Yeti.
They do have the cool top though, like the Gamma Seal cap that we sell for the 5 gallons. They do have that, but I hate dumping a sleeve in one side and then the other side with those. Like that's why, the 5 gallon bucket, the rectangular buckets are so nice for that one reason.
Yeah, that's the reason you want to use it. I always have to have a lid though. My biggest thing, it was when buckets splash around, it drives me nuts.
Yeah. Vicious Triplets asked SteveO, so what are you using instead of bronze wool? Just steel? Yeah, so I use walnut pads most of the time for like my Techno Pad, or for just like a normal residential window that's not too crazy dirty, and I find they work well. I think there's mixed opinions about them as far as how well they work. And then 4/0 steel wool, you can always use that, of course, so I'll use that. Those are pretty much the 2 non-scratch abrasives that I have been using since bronze wool was out. I love bronze wool. I wish it comes back. Maybe someone in the industry will put a machine together and make these happen, but I don't know who.
You know what sucks? Like the big thing is everybody's like, oh, you would make you should. No, you're not. It's like selling bronze wool. Your profit on those is like $1 a pad, maybe. I don't even think it'd be that high, you know? So it's like to have everything would be a really, really, really big return on investment. But
yeah.
I do have a little thing in the works, which is a thing to help clean storm windows on a ladder.
On a ladder? Yeah, like an easel?
Like an easel. Yes, but they're like really, really little things that I'm going to have fabricated up. So.
Oh, nice. That'd be very helpful. I actually had someone asking about that, if anybody sold anything directly for that.
Yeah.
So that would be helpful.
But that's not, you're not getting rich on that. It's just like an idea to put it out there, you know?
Exactly. Caleb and, I don't know how to pronounce that name. Kasha? What is the best wool for using? Quad Zero steel wool. That's the best.
Yeah. Or Teach Squeegee just said it. Razor blade.
Yeah.
Is there anybody in the group that will absolutely 100% never use a razor ever in their entire life? If you would never ever use a razor, I won't even make fun of you, but put it in the comments. But
I really don't know how you could. I get like a beginner not getting a razor at first, and I think that's a very wise thing for like a company to do. But I could never imagine ever not having a razor on me.
Yeah.
Ever. There's just too many things that come up that you just, you know. I was working with somebody in my area who has been a cleaner for about like a year and a half, I believe. And he doesn't have a razor. And when he saw me pull out the razor, he's like, "Why are you doing that?" And I'm like, "Well, some windows have to get razored. Like most windows can be razored. You just listen for a sound. If you hear it, you don't razor it. That's it." But you know, you want to learn how to use it. That's why construction cleans are so good to do. Even if you don't want to do them, do a few, because it's extremely, extremely helpful.
I love hearing T Squeegee just talk in general, but one of the things that he talks about when he talks about razors is he just gets so heated. It's so great. I would just watch and just like laugh out loud because people are like, you know, say something razors and he's just going on and on about them. It's great. It's great. He uses the term yum yum. All these yum yums out there telling me razors don't. Oh, it's great. Anyway. What's up to Craig, by the way? Just said, hey to SteveO in Jersey. Zen, by the way, he had asked who doesn't use a 5-gallon bucket. I do not use a 5-gallon bucket ever. Not ever. I do.
You spray bottle man? You a spray bottle guy?
I use a 6-gallon rectangle.
Oh, yeah. That's me too.
5-gallon would be the round one then. We just talked about.
Okay. No. All right. No worries.
I do. You know what I do enjoy doing, like when I do some wall work, is I have a 20-ounce like soda bottle that I poke a hole in the top with some soap. Just dump that in my bucket, put it in a bottle holder, so that when you're walking malls and stuff, you don't have to carry the whole water thing. But
no, that's where you take your like little Red Ryder wagon, you know, and you put everything in there and you walk through real slowly. Yep. I used to see a guy do that in the mall. I haven't cleaned the inside of a mall though for, I mean, at least 5 years, 6 years. In our area, malls are just dying. Like they're not even, it's not really a thing. It's not.
We have one mall. So where I'm from, our mall is like dead, literally dead. It's like all convenience stores. You know, like when the mall's dying, you can tell it's all like, they're like convenience stores that pop up into the mall and just like sell sodas and Red Bull, you know?
Yeah.
That's what's happening. But in North Carolina, the only mall that's around here is the largest mall in North Carolina, and it's like super, super busy. But like there's one mall. Everything else is like outdoor, like storefronts, you know?
Right. Real quickly here. Have you tried Tiger Wool? Levi asked what about Tiger Wool? So I'll tell you,
but I love how you
have one from a local window cleaner gave me, and I will not use it. By the first feel of it, it felt the same to me as what we wouldn't sell. But then again, I do know people that have used them. Of course, I haven't seen their glass, so I wouldn't say much, but I mean, I just do not feel comfortable using them.
I don't know. It's like 3/0 steel. Like people are like, oh, I use that. Like, okay, you can, but like I don't know. I'd rather use a walnut pad. I know people say, "Look, that doesn't scrub as good." I know it doesn't, but like a walnut pad's great. It won't scratch. You put it anywhere. It doesn't lint in your pocket. It doesn't lose, fibers and then it gets stuck in your phone, speakers. That's the worst thing about steel wool. That's why I literally started with a steel wool pouch, just because I was tired of like digging. You have to like magnetize a paper clip to try to dig the metal shavings out of the speaker.
Yep.
That's old
I had
school.
tons of that. Here's a good question for you from Caleb and what's her name again, buddy?
Katya.
Katia. We're going to call you Kat. From Caleb and Kat. Razor tips. Also a device for winter in Texas, starting door to door tomorrow with a buddy of mine. Well, winter in Texas, what? You get a couple cold days, so that's not a problem.
Winter in Texas is not really, that's like an oxymoron.
Yeah. Austin Grubbs can tell you all about that, so no problem with that.
Winter in Texas just means you don't have to wear like a full brimmed like hat. That's all winter in Texas means, is you can just use a hat with just a front.
Razor tips, though, the biggest thing I think with razors is that I always do like a small test corner of every window that I do, unless I just know the job is good. And I always listen to see if I am removing paint with no paint there and it sounds like that, then I do not use a razor. A bunch of just like popping kind of sound from the glass. If you hear that and there's nothing on there, then you are just scratching it. That'd be my biggest tip. Try to keep in one directional path. I don't do that always keep it wet. You got any more good tips?
Always push forward, never pull back, keep it wet.
Cool. All right. Great tips.
You know what? With tips when it comes to that, that's literally the only thing. You don't even have to really keep it wet, but that's it. It's really just push forward. That's, really it.
Yeah. Let's see here. What else is going on in the world of window cleaning? I do not know. November 1st, I am now starting to kind of wind down. I scheduled it that way for the next, basically 3 months, and that my usual cleaning days are super, super light. What do you guys all do as of November 1st? But I know usually right now is a pretty crazy time up to Thanksgiving, even sometimes till Christmas, especially if you're doing Christmas lights.
Yeah. The push is going to at least Thanksgiving as far as windows. It was for, Wisconsin, and then it kind of slowed down. But I know a lot of people push to Thanksgiving, and I know shutdown guys happen. Actually, I know one guy who will shut down week of Thanksgiving. He won't come back until I think mid-February is when they start back up.
Yeah.
But
that's good. Who does Christmas lights that are in the comments? If you do Christmas lights, comment with that. And then how long do you usually go for as far as that season goes? I would think that would start almost before Halloween and then go all the way through January as far as takedowns.
Oh, yeah. They start advertising in January or July. Just because they start getting stuff down. We have somebody in our neighborhood who gets them up in early August, but they don't turn them on. But it's like a pest company that installs them. Because you're it's still 90 degrees. You're like, what are you doing? But it happens. I do have one thing real quick, and I'm trying to go back and find who said it, but I think it was Zen. He said that winter is the best time to sell route gutter clean or route window cleaning. Winter is the best time to sell that. Absolutely. The best tip of information you will get from the show is that one line that he wrote right there.
The best. That's it.
Yep. It's the bestest.
Show's done.
No, because people don't show up. People don't show up, and the windows always look like how many times have you gotten done in winter and they just look like crap 20 minutes later because there's snow on the ground and salt and everything else, and
it's so weird when someone comments on you make an Instagram post about somewhere you worked and then someone comments that hey, where are you? I need help. It's a super weird thing.
Doing my own thing, bro.
I just don't understand social media sometimes. Yeah.
When you're out there and you do want to help, which we do, people sometimes are like, "Oh, you want to help with everything?" My wife's in labor. Can you help me get through it? No.
No, I cannot do that. I cannot do that for you. Let's see. What else is going on in the world?
Yes. Squeegee just said, or T Squeegee just said, we all don't sell supplies in the winter. Some of us have to stay cold. Some of us also don't sell supplies in the winter because if you guys are working, you're not buying supplies. So, you know,
It gets slow.
Craig said, buy the razor that don't rust. Yes. And don't cut yourself with a razor. By the way, I've had gnarly cuts myself twice, and I've had my guy have the worst one of all of them that I've ever seen. That did need stitches. But when you cut yourself with a razor, it is so sharp and thin, you do not feel anything. All you feel is like your hand's wet, and you're like, what is all? And you look down, and there's blood everywhere, everywhere. Like, I don't know if you really hit yourself with a razor, but this is no joke. This is Gary did this, but this little girl's helping. You know how some homeowner kids help, and he's cleaning the front of the window, and she's standing there, and they're talking through like the little top of the screen is one of those windows that slide down, and they're talking, and she's like, yeah, you know, I go to school in this age and blah 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 blah. And he puts his scrubber in, and he goes to get his razor, and as he puts his hand back, his cap had popped off. He had his razor the way he shouldn't have anyway. Cap had fallen off, and he went like this to grab the thing, and he realized it wasn't in, and like pulled his hand, just instinctively pulled it away, and literally shot a rainbow of blood up the window, all where the girl was talking to him on the side. There was blood everywhere, everywhere. We like quick, like just belt tourniqueted, and like it didn't hit anything bad. He needed some stitches, but it just bled like. And what it was because he flung his hand, and as soon as he like flung his hand, it was like it was awful. And the little girl's like, ah!
It's like a horror movie.
We had to like peroxide their porch. It was like blood everywhere. But I don't know if he has cut them.
I have only cut my hand one time with the razor, and that was actually from taking the razor out of the box, and two were stuck together. And I just did that stupid motion of like pulling. I don't even know what I did, and it just sliced it, but it wasn't bad. J-Rod, which winter gloves with the best with dexterity are the best dexterity? I like the Youngstown gloves. I tried those this past year. I really liked them as far as they were easier to detail with than the Glacier gloves that have been so popular for years that are the sealskin.
Yeah.
They have like the Pro Curve, and they have ones that aren't Pro Curve. And I definitely found that the Youngstown ones were the best, but they didn't come back very far. Like they'll only come to like right here. So if you have that little space in the winter that gets cold, that's one thing to think about.
They're like super warm, like big, but they're still move them. I still, my favorite glove that I ever use like in the field is going to be just a mechanic's glove, just to like keep the wind off of there. They're not warm. They're not waterproof. Everybody hates them, but I really like those. If I'm going to a real glove, it's going to be the Youngstown, which is those Winter Plus gloves.
Yeah. And they can, you can use your phone with it. I know it's not a crazy thing, but you don't have to take them off to like answer your phone, which is nice.
In Wisconsin, when I plowed, yes, that's really nice to have, because when you're out doing stuff and you're working on a truck to like try to pull everything off to try to get to your phone to like, you know, it's really annoying. So yeah.
Yeah. Chase Stockwell said Tuesday night live chat. Yeah.
I got Youngstown's gloves, courtesy of SteveO. Che is hyping you up right now.
Oh yeah. Craig asks, any cool Black Friday sales from WCR? We do not know as far as that goes, but I'm sure that will come down the line. We just ended a sale, a really good sale, and so there's kind of like always sales going on. Seems. And
like, I heard rumor. This is just rumor that SteveO will be selling autographs. So limited supply, but that's what I heard. Stocking stuffers. Stocking stuffers.
Nah, it won't give you any money. I'll tell you that much. I'll tell you that. Maybe at a window cleaning convention, you might be able to get some money for it. But that is it. That is it. Man, I don't know.
Answer your phone with your nose, Mark says. That works.
Come on. It does work. That is true.
Austin Grubbs got the highest bid right now on the SteveO autograph.
Oh man, you want one? I'll send you one.
Just give him I'll get his address. You can get it. Just your headshot.
No way. No way.
What do you do as things slow down? Like how can you feel the slowdown happening? Like in your company? Just the phones, or do you plan it? Because you said before that you're doing this
I planned it. I totally planned it. I literally for the last month and a half been turning down work like 2 to 3 a day. Where I've gotten to a point with my business that I could just go all year long with regulars. I actually do not need any more customers.
Yeah.
And I will fit people in here and there if it's something that works in the area. But I am like, I do zero marketing. I'm not lettering my truck, nothing. I'm kind of fading out even of probably doing like the 2 days full time, so that I have more time to do sales and talk to people on those Mondays and Tuesdays and really have like weekends like completely off and free of anything window cleaning wise. So, but no, but I found always like, working regular, especially with like Jim or the previous years, that it was always really die hard until Thanksgiving. And then after Thanksgiving, we always just tried to really kind of halt the schedule on purpose. But I think if anybody could really want to go through with it, you could go, 5-6 days a week all the way through Christmas. I don't think you could, it could definitely happen.
In my market that I had in Wisconsin, because it was so cold, our first freeze came in even before Thanksgiving, but then we'd have like little thaws because once gutters freeze out, it's like shuts the whole thing down for like the whole winter. And then everybody just goes into like winter hibernation mode. And just like, there's people who are like, oh, I pushed to Christmas. I pushed to Christmas. I pushed to Christmas. We pushed to Thanksgiving. It was like the day after Thanksgiving, like Black Friday. We're like, all right, I guess we're cleaning trucks today.
Yeah. But let me talk about this point real quickly, because like as a business, do you think you ever got to the point where you're like, I don't think you ever did because you were always trying to grow. But do you ever think that you could get to an area, say with an amount of employees, where maybe you're being very picky and choosy about the jobs you take? I mean, to the point where you are turning down quite a bit of work. I know that is not the normal way of ever having a business, because that's not what you would normally do. But like, do you ever think that's a possibility for a window cleaning business?
There's no wrong way to have a business. So if you are comfortable, you always need to be strengthening. So like if new people call, what you do is you bid them at your new price, which is way higher than you normally would. And if they say yes, you start raising prices on other people, and you get just everybody to start moving up. And then what happens is, if your price is so high that your close rate's only 50%, well, then it's only 50%, right? And then that's when you can keep filling things in. So yeah, I mean, you have to keep being strong. Don't sit there being stagnant, I think. But, companies who want to just not advertise and they're happy exactly where they are, do it. Like, more jobs does not mean more anything. It just means sometimes more headaches. You know, if you're making 10% of a guy out in the field, after everything and prices, like I was talking to a guy, this is 5 years ago, and he was looking at selling a company, and somebody wanted to buy his company. And he said, well, I'm offered this other job, and this other job pays me $25,000 more than I salary myself now. And he's like, I don't know if I want to take it. It's not that much money. I said, okay, well, it's $25K. That's a decent amount. And he goes, well, I'll just, sell a couple more jobs and I'll get that. I'm like, okay, so what that means is by the 10% rule, you have to sell you have to do $250,000 of more work next year to get yourself $25,000. Like, you have to have your employees do that much more work. So at that point, it's like, okay, well, is a whole nother crew, a whole nother truck, a whole nother this, a whole nother that, is it worth the headaches for the extra 25K? And that's where a lot of people are like, no, man, I'm happy exactly where I am. Keep strengthening yourself. Your jobs get better, but you don't have to get bigger.
Yeah, exactly. And I do think, it's a lot of jobs come in from either neighbors and stuff like that. And I always try to fit like those in, but sometimes it just gets to a point where it's like, or just being more like closing down your territory too. That's kind of a nice thing to be able to do, is like limit the amount of where you're working. Like, I'm about to shut down a route that I do that's like about 45 minutes away, and just completely remove that because it's just not needed, Yeah. So it'll be nice.
Yeah. That's the strengthening part. Like, if you could do every job in just like one neighborhood, then you could totally do that. I mean, it's working smarter, not harder. Like, all of us got into business for the freedom, and then all of a sudden we start making money, and then all of a sudden we don't have freedom. Now we're working for money. Well, get back to the freedom side,
I feel like I see that so much though in window cleaning though, is like just overworking, and it could be in every single business, but I feel like in window cleaning, I see so many people just push the limits of their physicality and don't think about in the long run what that's going to do to your body. I mean, I've seen many window cleaners in their older years, and a lot of them are having some troubles with joint issues and just, I couldn't imagine it. So
Look at John Lee. John Lee says, how he walks in his bad knees, that's from ladders.
yeah.
But here's something to think about it from the outside is that before you get into window cleaning, say you make $20 an hour at a job, that's good money, Now you get into window cleaning, like, man, if I could make $50 an hour, dude, I'd only work like 3 hours a day, man, I'd be set. Okay, so now you're in window cleaning, you've done it. Now you're working 3 hours a day. You're like, dude, I could work like another 2 hours or so and even make more. And now all of a sudden it's not the money or it's the freedom. And now you're working 5 hours and you're like, somebody calls you, you're like, I'm only working 5 hours. Yeah, I could. And now you're back to working your 8/10 hours a day. And now you're back to a slave to money. So,
Yep. Exactly. Let's see here. What was one of these good questions here that came up just now? Well, this is what Craig said. It's impossible for me to find the price that is too high. I have tried. Every time I bid a job I don't want to do, they agree to the price. I don't even get that myself of why that happens.
yeah.
I mean, how many times that you will see a job, you're like, I don't want to do it. We're just going to throw them out a huge price. And then you get it. And you're like, no, I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it.
Well, I told you this. I've done this test. This is years ago, but everybody says like, I couldn't charge more. I wouldn't close work. I couldn't. Those are people who've never tried it. I'm telling you, this is my house washes. I was talking to somebody years ago and they were like, your house washes are too low. You could tack on a little bit more. I'm like, well, I'm pretty saturated to where I wanted to be at the time. I didn't need any, but people still called. I literally doubled my price, doubled it. Not one person said no.
Yeah.
That was my new price. Like, not to say that happens all the time, but when people think that they're charging too much, they can't pay more or whatever, it's because they've never tried to charge more. And sometimes people are so scared of that one person saying no that they're like, oh no, that's wrong. Oh, I got to redo everything.
Craig says, did a house a day for $800. When we were done, they gave us $100 tip. Yeah. Just happens.
Yep.
It happens. It's a good life.
Has the idea too. Playing video games and selling window cleaning equipment sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
That's the life, isn't it, Jack?
Yeah.
Let's see here.
By the way, if anybody's watching and you're into PlayStation 5, I'm trying to convince SteveO to get one. It's not going real well, but if you have amazing things to say about PlayStation and how he can relax his mind with it, go ahead and comment.
Like, when do you I just don't even know when I'd find the time to play.
You're on chat at night, so see, you could do that.
But I just sit at my computer and wait. Just wait.
Do you?
I just wait for the next person. It's hours.
When those people, when they jump on and go, is anybody there? And you're like, yes,
I'm here. Talk to me, please.
Isn't that what people, when they call you as like your window cleaning company, when they're like, oh yeah, I'm looking to see if you can clean my windows tomorrow. You're like, no, I'm booked out for like 2 months. They're like, oh, you have other customers? I thought you were just waiting for me.
Yep. Never thought. Oh, here's the number one question of the show, Josh. How do you grow your business from the window cleaning kid? Give them 2 tips. How do you grow?
How do you grow from the window cleaning kid as the person? I thought that was the question. How do you grow from the window cleaning kid? I was like, what? Is that like a new book of ass
backwards? Yes. So how do you grow your business? That's it.
Man, that is the largest question to answer.
Yep.
Well, you make more money. All right, folks. Thank you very much. Yeah. So growing your business, there's ways to grow it. There's size growth and there's strength growth. Strength growth is what I was talking about, is like charging the right amount, right? Like if you're making $40 an hour, you are wrong. And I don't care what market you're in. I don't care any of that stuff. You are wrong. Unfortunately, you need to up your prices. Once you get to the strength side, then you can grow your company with efficiency, meaning one person gets a water fed. Now all of a sudden they can do twice as much work in the same amount of time. Then when you max that out, you keep getting more jobs. And now you grow to different crews and people if that's the direction you want to go. So it's all about adding to your business. It just depends on if it's jobs, more importantly, income, but also strength.
Nice. Good stuff. Nice.
One clip, Craig. So right. So right.
Okay.
Jordan, so I bet you Jordan's a 2-clip kind of guy. He said buy an Xbox instead. He's 2 clips. I know it.
I don't know. That's the good way to be, though. Here's an interesting question from I'm hopelessly addicted to fentanyl. Do you guys calculate the trajectory of the sun before you do a window cleaning job? No, I do not.
I do, only if it's like one giant project and the day is supposed to be like at the max we'd work anyway. I'll be like, well, morning sun, I'm going to start, over here, over there to try to chase it. But there's 4 sides to a building, and really only 2 sides are kind of getting sun in the time you'll be there, unless it's a really, really big project. So there's not really much you can do, but I try really hard not to end with the sun right here. Afternoon sun on your shoulder sucks.
That's true. That's true. Chris Keene. What else here?
You want to mention, if you want to talk about what Chris just said, you can.
What?
He just said, Steve, thanks for introducing me to WCR. Made my first order today. Went with the Mormon 2.0 handle and ordered the 36-inch Ettore Super Channel to cut and customize. Thanks, brother.
Oh, man. Chris, you probably have to text me because that Ettore Super Channel is not going to work with the Mormon 2.0 handle.
Yeah, those are 2 very different things. But SteveO is a rep here at windowcleaner.com. So if you do want to put orders in and he's introduced you to anything, let him put the order and he can let you know any of those changes. But if you just put the order in, talk to SteveO. He'll get it changed and get you out what you need. Correct. We ship up to 5 p.m. East Coast. So if it was after 5 p.m., we can still make changes in an order.
Yeah. So we'll check that out. Let's see here, though. Oh, I don't even know. We had no questions prepared for tonight. So we're sorry.
It was the Steve and Alex. It was the Chris and Alex fight question that no one cared to answer but T Squeegee. I was pretty bummed at that. That was such a good question, I thought. It would be Alex, though. I could see Alex like such a cuddly guy, but I do think like TG said is Chris is like in a monk phase where I think Alex would hit him and he'd be like, if that's what you decide to do, brother. Dude, I could not work with my brother. You met my brother. Actually, I just realized that you met my brother for a hot second. We are different people. You would
never guess. To everybody here, you would never ever guess. If that person wanted to be like, who are you?
Yeah. I could not work with my brother, and somehow they make it work. I don't know if anybody in here works with their family, but I could not.
The funny thing is usually partnerships in general are a hard thing with a business, especially on this scale of like having a career, and it's hard to get along. I was lucky to get along with Jim, but it was also he had a lot of time in the business, so it was kind of a very easy transition, kind of a father-son type of interaction. But it is very, very hard to be partners sometimes in this business, or you'll see a lot of one person go off after a little bit and one person just carry the business. You see that a lot, but you butt heads, especially when you're friends and trying to have a business and you have a lot of ideas and a lot of things you want to do and the person doesn't agree and then blah, blah, blah.
Well, no matter how long you've known him, like you guys don't have the exact same vision or the exact same anything. So partners is really hard, especially people who are like, even up partners. I met one group of guys that did that. It was 2 guys, and I don't want to mention their names, but every time you talk to them, it was absolutely amazing. Like they got it. They were just stayed in their own lane and they just did it. But every other person that I've talked to, more or less, has been more complaining like, yeah, man, I don't know what to do, man. I brought him on. He's not carrying his weight. And then the other guy's like, he's not carrying his weight. Like stuff's not getting done. Like there's never a perfect, situation. It's great in the beginning, but
yeah. Reese, you asked about how we talked about half stacks. Yes, we did at the beginning. We do not know the ETA, but they are on order. So I will let you know. JC
Slice. I don't know if that's a troll or not, but we do not talk about that particular brand. They are not awesome. Not an awesome company, in my opinion. So no.
Yes. Chase Stockwell asks, best way to approach up in the price after service from things like paint, silicone, etc. I always just like if I see 1 or 2 windows that have hard water, I'll be quite honest with you. I will usually just take care of it. Like 1 or 2 windows, 1 or 2 base windows that are bad. If I can do it under like 10 minutes to get both of them done, I guess you could say, as kind of like just an extra thing to be like, hey, there was some hard water, but I took care of it. But if it's 8 windows, 10 windows, and you start seeing paint everywhere, that's when you just have to go in and you have to just be completely honest about it. Listen, you can just go around and show to remove this. It's not part of my normal things, but here's the price to do it. But here's the caveat. And this is what I think you should have on an invoice to make sure that you are not put in an area of like, no, sir, you are supposed to do this. You never said you weren't going to do it. You have to put on your invoice that this clean does not include paint, silicone, construction debris, hard water removal. You got to put something like that to basically be able to have that conversation and make it very easy. Most customers are very understanding, but you're going to have those few that if you don't have that part in there before they ever confirmed with the bid, I think that's where you could get some fight back. And that's where I see some people. I'll talk to a lot of young guys who, hey, these people weren't happy because this particular item wasn't clean. Well, was that listed in the things you're going to clean? Well, I didn't tell them it wasn't listed. Well, there you go. Like most people understand about, but you're going to get those customers who are really anal about those kind of things.
Yep. And I always tell people that, like you said, 1 window or something, I got to pull a blade out and do something. Okay. But then when I'm like, oh man, all windows are jacked up, I'm going to just stop and go to the homeowner and just say, hey, just so you know, we're still going to clean all the windows, but there's something on there that's above cleaning, and that is some restoration, some paint, and there's this stuff. I'd love to take that off for you too, but I know we didn't talk about restoration. We just talked about cleaning. I can do that for you. You know, it'll add probably like, 40 to $50 or something like that for time. But if you want me to do that, otherwise I could just leave it. Give them the option so that you're not bait and switching, because that's a big thing. You want to make sure to uphold that whole contractor suck thing. But if you give them the option to just do it or not, they'll usually give you the green light. And like Reese just said, think of it as a plumber. Yeah. We don't question when the stuff it gets in and go, hey, you know what? We did this quote for this much. I always bring it up just because, again, I don't want to necessarily bait and switch. I'm looking for the long-term customer. But it's the same thing. Like, remember, we're window cleaners. If you go into it as a window cleaner, I always say, hey, I'm still going to clean the windows, but there's something that's more than cleaning that I'd like to do. Is that okay? And usually they're cool with it.
Now, Patrick Ramirez put a comment, best to handle that convo during the estimate. Here's where I would disagree with that, is that there's going to be things that, I don't know about you and your estimates, but I do not have the time in an estimate to go up to most of the windows other than counting them and having the conversation with the customer, where most, like you always mentioned, are going to do it over the phone. So what's better almost in my mind is to do what I just talked about and having what you do and what you don't do. And then if you want to go into, if these things are done, it's at this cost, then you could, but there are simply not going to be things that you always see during the estimate. There is just not. I've seen it so many times. Sometimes, yes, you do just have to like stomach it because it's your fault. You messed up. You didn't see something. I've seen that happen a number of times, but I do think there is no problem in having that conversation, after 3, I had a job yesterday after 2 windows, and this lady had mentioned that another window cleaning company had been there, and then she cleaned her windows herself. I started seeing very odd scratches, like just not normal scratches. So right away, just went and grabbed her. I said, I don't know if you ever noticed this, but there's like quite a few odd scratches that have like odd paths to them, and not something I usually see, but just want to know that, you've seen them. Oh, I've seen this one, but I've never seen this one. Well, I just want to point it out to you so that you know that they're there. Yeah. Boom. Continued the job. They were all good.
Here's a prime example to kind of give that. And we're not ragging on you there, Patrick.
No,
just kind of give you the opposite side. Is that when you go get an oil change, they bring you out your air filter and they go, hey, FYI, we're still going to change your oil, but this air filter needs to be changed. You want to change it or you just want to leave it? Cool. Like, you have the option. They're not pushing it on you. They may charge you twice as much of what a normal air filter would cost, but they're not going to inspect your whole car before they offer to do the oil change. It's the same thing where it's like, hey, guess what? I ran into this issue. I would just love you to tell me how you want me to go with the issue. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Put it out there. If they go, hey, you know what? I was already planning on just spending the $3.99 for the window cleaning. I don't want to do anything extra. Go, okay, cool. Well, just so you know it's there.
Yeah.
Again, meeting expectations means people aren't going to complain. If you tell them, hey, there's paint on the windows, do you want me to take that off? Now they know the paint's there. So when it's all done, they don't go, this guy left the whole thing, because you already went to them. The expectations, like, either the paint's there because I told him to leave it there, I'm not paying more for it.
Yeah. One of the best things that I thought when I worked at Fish, I'll be quite honest, is that on all of their invoices that are signed after you get done with the job and the quotes, it does say exactly what I just talked about. But what's really nice about it is that you knew that exactly what you had to do was scrub the window, use an abrasive to clean it a little bit more, squeeze the window, detail, a little wipe of the tracks. It was not a deep clean. And there you were just told to wipe down the screens. What was really nice about that, though, is that you knew you had support behind you if the customer was like, oh, no, well, that's not true. Okay, you can call the owner and you can talk to them. And as long as that's all black and white through the whole company, that creates a very good environment for the employees to be confident about what they're doing. Because you can very quickly, and I think a lot of young people or a lot of people that are young in the business do this, is that they get into doing perfection. And they get lost in it, and they get so lost in it that they're not making as much money as they thought, and they start hating the job. Where if you make the systems of just doing the basics and then doing more if you have to, then it can be really smooth as butter. You're always going to have your weird customers, but it's going to be pretty far and few between.
Yeah, exactly. That was me sneezing off camera, and then as soon as I dropped my mic, it went away. So
didn't even hear it.
Telling you.
Chris Thomas asked a good question on overhead windows with deeper frames. Am I limited to straight pulls with an easy ledger to fully close out? Well, yeah, I mean,
technically you don't need a ledger if it's deep because no one needs ledgers. Ledgers are for you to do up and downs. But remember, if you have a pivot squeegee, you can go side to side. You have an 18-inch, which means you have like 7 inches after the middle part of it that goes down. So now you have this giant, if you're doing side pulls on that bottom, you don't need the ledger.
Yeah. Damien mentioned to Chris Thomas using the Unger 0 degree. That is a super, super nice 0 degree because you can get flush with the frame by the way they made it and get a really nice pull at the bottom. But also, I think stuff like that is really good to note for commercial. But I think when you're doing residential, if that's what you're doing, you should always be getting up there on a ladder. And I think pole work is good in the house, but you should always be cleaning those ledges. That's my own opinion about residential, that you should never leave a ledge with any water. I've talked to a lot of window cleaners who will not bring ladders in homes, the largest homes, which shocks me because I just feel like there's some things like, in some of these vaulted ceilings, in a living room where there's, the
it's a
upstairs walkway
nonetheless.
Yeah, and you can look and you can see the ledges. Like if you were to pull that, and it would just look horrible.
Yeah.
It would look horrible.
Well, the other thing is people, and this is not I believe we were called shameless shills by another podcast, but this is not a shameless shill thing plug, but a lot of people don't have stack ladders, and it really, really sucks getting a 24-inch or a 24-foot ladder into a property and trying to set up an extension ladder inside. That's just I get why people don't want to do that, but it's just that they don't have the right equipment, and stack ladders are expensive. So I get that.
Well, I do it all the time with the 20-foot Werner extension with stabilizers and levelers. I have the same ladder that I've had since literally I bought it in 2012. Same levelers, different standoffs because they get bent and stuff. But that particular ladder saves me a lot.
Ladders expires, SteveO. You're being unsafe. How does
That's
a ladder
true,
expire? Huh? Stupid ladder companies.
What's the usual life of a ladder?
5 years or something ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
No,
my ladder is still going strong.
If
there's one best investment ever to the ladder. I mean, gosh,
you just change the rope out when it deteriorates from sun damage. The crappy one, you just change it out to a good sheathed one.
A good climbing rope. That's what we always put on them. And I mean, it'll be on there for years. And Patrick Ramirez also said so much dust too. I've actually had a customer see cobwebs up on upper windows and think that I didn't do it. And that was when I pulled inside of a home. I was like, ooh, it's a good catch. It's a very, very good catch. Yeah. Yeah.
If somebody sees one thing, they see all things. Keep that in mind. If people find something, they will find everything and then be looking for it. You know?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's you kind of want to point out something, but then you're like, oh, man, if I point that out, I don't know what's going to happen. So,
yes, ladders expire, Jordan. Go look at your ladder. There is a expiry date on it that will say 5 years from purchase or something along those lines.
Damien has stacked for almost 20 years and just recently broke a rivet. That sucks.
You know, when I had to replace my last batch of ladders, why I had to replace them was because my ladders stuck up the back. I had an ARE cap, you know, nice like enclosed cap, and my ladders were sticking off 2 rungs, maybe, like literally nothing. And we were at one of our bar restaurants that we were doing inside cleaning. We didn't need ladders; they're still in the truck, and the beer delivery truck unloaded everything and then backed the semi out and was so close to my truck, he hit both ladders and took them and just bent them. So my ladders were like totally bent. So I had to take these ladders to the junkyard, and I'm like, I got like nothing for them, but you literally, you can't, like, you bend that back and all of a sudden it cracks. Like, I'm not messing with that.
I've had many times where I've taken I used to have my Tacoma, and I'd have my ladder rack on there and take it to an auto body shop or something like that has something fixed. It was in the shop all the time, and put it up. They put it up on the lift, and the bull horns would always be bent down every time I come pick it up. And I'd always look at them like, how do you not see that? Or I just don't get it. And every time there's no apology. It's just, sorry.
Like, yep. Okay.
Chris Thomas asked, that was my next question. On commercial buildings, do you worry about getting the water off the highest frame ledges? I'll be honest, personally, on the outsides, I don't worry about it, but on the insides, the same thing. If there is a way for them to be able to see the ledges, then yes, I always go up and clean them. I actually did that at a job for like 2 years where I just didn't think about it, and I was ledgering these ledges, and then all of a sudden, 2 years, I never went upstairs in this building because someone else would clean up. Then I go up there and look at the ledges, and they're just like the nastiest. So I went right down, sprayed them all down, wiped them all off. And from that day on, I've never missed a beat as far as that stuff goes. I always make sure, like, will this look good from every angle? I think that's the question you could ask yourself. At every angle, will this look good? But on the exterior with high frames, I don't think people are overly too crazy about that with commercial buildings. Just residential on that, I think is.
If you have like a commercial property with like, you walk into a stairwell and the windows go up another like story or two, you're still wiping all those ledges down. Like a story, like it's impossible to see those ledges because you're on a stairwell. There's nothing higher than you. You'll still go wipe them all?
No. So like, it's what I'm trying to say is if I do think on the thought of like those things, like what can a person see? Right. If a person can't see it and it looks good, that's fine. Like nothing else needs to be done. And I'm not trying to trick the customer, but it's like, as we all know, there's just some things that just don't need to be perfect, you know? Yeah. Like everything that they can view will look good, but some things just, you can't do it.
Yeah. I'm with it. I found I've gone up there before because they had like a cracked window or whatever, you know, and we're doing inspections for them or taking pictures. And you go up there and you find like a blue towel or something, and you're like, oh, well, it's not ours. It's been there for like 10 years, but somebody lost it. Couldn't see it. Yeah.
Squeegee Life asked, how do you become a YouTube star and window cleaning equipment sales expert?
Man, that one's fielded to you there, SteveO.
No, I don't even know. It all just happened.
In the last 30 days, I've only noticed this. We talked about YouTube channels. I'm like super proud that I broke 100 subscribers in this YouTube channel, and you had 848 in the last like 30 days. I was like,
I'm telling you, man, it's this YouTube Shorts, and you notice a lot of people are doing them now too. It's just it's a quicker,
I still don't even know what that is. I'm too old for that.
It's just an upload thing for YouTube that you can do through your phone, and you can just upload a short for like vertically, you know, filmed, and that's it. And those can get a lot of good views. And it seems YouTube is moving to the algorithm that Instagram and TikTok has moved to, where, like we've always said on here, I swear everyone's just getting tons of fake followers. Like they are trying to make you all feel great about yourselves. Yeah. I don't actually even think that any of the videos that like in the window cleaning community that says they get millions of views, I actually don't think they actually get millions of views. I think that's
so really random. Hard. I can't see that it's doing it. No, I can't see that. I just can't. But I'm still going to use you as much as possible to get my views up.
Sounds good. But yours are always great though. Like your duets are funny. Like that's the thing. Like it's funny. Like that. Yeah.
But I love like this is one of my favorite things is to like talk schmack about SteveO. Like, because people get so angry and it's great. And they're like, well, you don't even know this guy. Like, you should watch one of his. I have people tell me that, like, if I do something, they're like, oh, yeah, you should maybe watch one of his videos. Might be beneficial to you. And I'm like, yeah, maybe someday I'll see something from him. I don't know. It's great. I love it.
Yes. Squeegee Puller said the people of YouTube are a lot more cutthroat than the people of TikTok. Yes. It's crazy. YouTube opens up just a whole different plethora of people. I mean, yeah, but TikTok too. TikTok, I mean, you read some of the comments on there on a viral video. It's mean. It's really mean.
You know what I'm super bummed at? Speaking of, and this is because T's here, he can pass the word along, but Jacob Williams used to do the greatest like troll duets of me ever on TikTok, and now he does none. Like, he hasn't done one in like months and months and months. I've fallen off of his
he's not off his radar. It's all those tool times on Squeegee Life podcasts. That's what he's preparing for all week.
Yeah.
They're riveting. They are very riveting.
He does have a script. I have noticed that.
Yep.
There's like a script even on there. So
well, it is 6:30, 8:30 Eastern. So we are out of here and done for this one. But we'll be back in 3 weeks. That's my fault. I'm taking a week off. Need some time away from everything. So Caleb and Kat, opinion on water-fed poles. Water-fed poles are great. Reach out to Jersey or I, and we can tell you all about water-fed poles.
They're amazing.
Yes. Do you have anything to talk about, sir?
Sure, yeah. If you haven't yet, subscribe to my YouTube, because SteveO said I can mention it. And also go to awcmag.com for American Window Cleaner Magazine, because there's still some of you who don't have the magazine. And if you want to see amazing stuff, get the magazine, get the stickers, be absolutely awesome. There you go.
Yes. So yeah, we'll be back soon, and we'll see you then.